Reddit is filled with any topic imaginable. If you're a professional, a thief, or even a furry, Reddit has a community for you. Today we are talking about 3 mysteries that have been talked about on Reddit.
Number 1. The missing submarine.
On Reddit, OP posted a video of what a submarine might have looked like if it got crushed and mentioned the ARA San Juan, which was a diesel-electric submarine that served in the Argentine Navy. I researched some articles and found that on November 15, 2017, the submarine set out on a routine training mission from the port of Ushuaia in southern Argentina. But just a few days later, the submarine vanished without a trace. Were they attacked? Was the government trying to cover up a secret mission? Why did they disappear? As the days passed, the families of the 44 crew members waited anxiously for news, while search and rescue teams from multiple countries scoured the South Atlantic for any sign of the missing submarine. But despite their efforts, no wreckage or debris was found. The mystery of the ARA San Juan's disappearance deepened as experts began to examine the available data. The submarine's last known location was 430 miles off the coast of Argentina, in an area known for its strong ocean currents and unpredictable weather. Some wondered if the submarine had been overwhelmed by a powerful storm, while others speculated that a mechanical failure or a human error may have led to the tragedy. But if a mechanical failure was the cause, why did the crew not report it or send out an SOS signal? As the search continued, the families of the missing crew members began to question why the submarine had not been equipped with the latest technology to ensure its safety and assist with search and rescue efforts. Why was the submarine not fitted with modern communication systems and emergency beacons? Even if there was a problem, wouldn't that equipment have improved their chances of survival? The incident also put the spotlight on Argentina's Navy, which had been facing budget cuts and questions about its readiness for years. Did the budget cuts have any impact on the incident? If so, why were the cuts made in the first place? After a year-long search, the wreck of the submarine was found in November 2018. The Navy announced it found the wreck some 807 meters deep and about 640 kilometers off the coast of Argentina. But even with the location of the wreck, many questions remained unanswered. Why did the submarine sink to such a depth, and how did it happen so quickly? The fate of the crew also remains a mystery. The Navy said the submarine's hatch was open, which meant that the crew members attempted to escape, but the search for their remains was called off after no signs of human remains were found. What happened to the crew? Was the Navy trying to cover up a bigger story? Were they able to escape before the submarine sank? The ARA San Juan may be gone, but the questions surrounding its disappearance will linger for years to come. Many people still believe it's a story that has not been completely told.
Number 2. Madeleine McCann.
This one is sad and honestly pretty frustrating. Reddit poster published on the conspiracy subreddit about a girl who went missing a couple of years ago, which had an immense amount of social media traction, and how there is a suspect now, but nobody is talking about it. This horrible event happened in Portugal in 2007, just a couple of days before Madeleine McCann had her 4th birthday party. She went missing from her family's holiday apartment. Her parents, Kate and Jerry McCann, had been dining with friends nearby and had been checking on the children regularly throughout the evening. But when Kate returned to the apartment at around 10 p.m., Madeleine was nowhere to be found. Panic set in as Kate and Jerry realized their daughter was gone. They searched the apartment and the surrounding area, but Madeleine was nowhere to be found. The couple immediately called the police and reported their daughter missing. The search for Madeleine quickly became a global media sensation as police and volunteers scoured the surrounding area for any sign of the little girl. The McCanns, both doctors, were initially considered suspects by the Portuguese police, but they were eventually cleared of any involvement in their daughter's disappearance. Despite the massive search effort, no solid leads were found. Theories about what may have happened to Madeleine ranged from abduction by a stranger to accidental death and concealment to involvement of the parents themselves. But nothing concrete was ever found, and Madeleine's fate remains a mystery to this day. The case was closed by the Portuguese police in 2008. How can a case with such media presence have no type of progress? Why close the case when there is still so much to investigate? In recent years, a new suspect emerged in the case, German national Christian Bruckner, who was living in the Algarve region of Portugal at the time of Madeleine's disappearance. Bruckner, a convicted rapist and pedophile, has been linked to the case through mobile phone data, but he has denied any involvement and claims he has been framed. Bruckner's name first came up in the investigation in 2017, and the German police launched a formal investigation into him in 2018. They have searched several properties connected to him, including one in Hanover, Germany, where traces of a child's DNA were found. However, the DNA evidence was not enough to link him to the crime, and Bruckner has insisted he is innocent. The McCanns have described him as a significant suspect in their daughter's case. Although the case was closed by the Portugal police, private detective agencies were hired by the family, friends of the family, and the media, but even they could not uncover any concrete evidence about the missing little girl. Madeleine's parents, Kate and Jerry McCann, have never given up hope that their daughter may still be alive. They have never given up on their search for their daughter and still call for anyone with information to come forward. It's just weird on how a child could disappear in plain sight in a crowded holiday resort and not be found. What are the chances of finding a missing child after such a long time? I don't think they should have ever closed the case because no concrete evidence or lead was ever found. Madeleine's case is one of the most high-profile missing persons cases in recent history. Despite the efforts of police and private detectives, the questions surrounding her disappearance continue to linger. The search for Madeleine McCann goes on, and the hope of her safe return remains alive in the hearts of her parents, family, and friends, and anyone who was touched by her story.
Number 3. Unexplainable plane disappearance.
OP posted conspiracy theories, which included a pilot putting on his oxygen mask and tampering with the cabin pressure to knock out everyone else that was on his flight. As I read that, I immediately thought terrorist. He goes on to explain why the flight veered off course, and honestly, it makes sense. Here's what I found about the situation he's talking about. Flight MH370, a Boeing 777-200ER operated by Malaysian Airlines, took off on March 8, 2014, from the Kuala Lumpur International Airport, bound for Beijing, China. On board were 227 passengers and 12 crew members. The flight was routine, and the plane was in contact with air traffic control for approximately half an hour after takeoff. Everything was normal until something strange happened. The plane's transponder, which is responsible for sending signals to air traffic control, was suddenly turned off. The plane disappeared from radar and all communication was lost. Was it done on purpose? Did someone hijack the plane and not want to be seen, or did they crash? Nobody knew, but just in case they did crash, search and rescue teams were immediately mobilized, but they found no trace of the plane. The search area was expanded to cover a massive expanse of the Indian Ocean, but still, there were no signs of wreckage or survivors. Despite the extensive search efforts, the fate of MH370 and its passengers and crew remains a mystery to this day. As the days passed, the search for the missing plane became one of the most expensive and complex in aviation history. Multiple countries, including Australia, China, and Malaysia, participated in the search effort, covering an area of over 46,000 square miles. But despite the deployment of sophisticated technology, including underwater drones, no definitive debris of the aircraft was found. Many theories were put forward to explain the disappearance of the plane. Some suggested that the plane could have suffered a catastrophic mechanical failure, while others believed that it could have been a deliberate act of hijacking or sabotage. Some experts pointed to the possibility of a sudden decompression event, which could have incapacitated the crew, leaving the plane to fly on autopilot until it ran out of fuel. But even then, why did they not send any distress signals? It does not add up. These questions and many more continue to perplex experts and the general public alike, even many years after the incident, making the MH370 one of the biggest aviation mysteries in history. Till this date, there is no definite answers. The search for MH370 is still ongoing and the case remains open.